Oh, you will not believe what happened in our neighborhood. It started like any other day, calm, peaceful, and quiet. Birds were chirping, the sun was shining, and I had just returned home from work, looking forward to a relaxing weekend. But things took a wild turn. You see, we live in a gated community that has its own homeowners association, or HOA. Now, I have no problem with rules and regulations, but lately, the HOA in our area had gotten out of control. They started hiring people to act like security, but these people thought they were police officers. They started wearing uniforms, carrying tasers, and giving orders to everyone like they owned the place. My wife, Sarah, is a calm and composed woman. She minds her own business, respects others, and avoids drama. What the HOA people did not know, though, is that she is also a highly trained Special Forces veteran. She served in the military for over a decade. She has been on missions across the world, faced danger, and saved lives. But in our neighborhood, she was just the woman who watered her plants in the evening and smiled at neighbors during morning walks. That Friday evening, she decided to take our dog, Cooper, for a walk around the block. She wore a simple tracksuit, tied her hair back, and put Cooper on his leash. It was just another evening stroll. But about 10 minutes later, I got a call from her. Her voice was steady, but I could tell something was wrong. She said, "I need you to stay inside. Some HOA guys are trying to intimidate me. I am handling it, but just stay alert." That was all she said before hanging up. My heart started beating faster. I ran to the window, trying to see what was going on. Down the street, I saw 3 men in dark blue uniforms standing around her. One of them was pointing something that looked like a taser. Cooper, our dog, was barking nonstop. Sarah stood tall and calm, her eyes sharp and focused. She looked like a soldier again. The so-called HOA cops had approached her earlier and said she was violating community rules because her dog was not the right breed for this neighborhood. What nonsense. Cooper is a golden retriever, the friendliest dog you could imagine. But they said he looked too aggressive and demanded that she return home immediately or face action. When she politely disagreed and asked for a written notice, they got angry. One of them pulled out a taser and said, "This is your last warning, lady." Now, here's where things got real interesting. What they didn't know was that Sarah had already sent a silent signal to her old Special Forces team. Even though she was retired, they still stayed in contact, and she had a small alert system linked to her smartwatch. The moment she sensed things getting out of hand, she tapped twice on the screen, and that sent a location beacon to her team, many of whom live within 30 minutes. As the HOA guard raised his taser, Sarah stepped forward slightly and said in a calm but firm voice, "I highly suggest you put that thing away before this gets out of hand." The man laughed and said, "What are you going to do? Call your husband?" Sarah looked him dead in the eye and replied, "No. I called my team." Just then, black SUVs started pulling up from both ends of the street. Doors swung open, and 6 individuals stepped out, each one dressed in casual clothes, but with military precision in their movements. These were not ordinary people. These were trained professionals who had served in elite forces. They didn't need to shout. They just stood there, eyes locked on the situation. 2 of them had already positioned themselves at a distance with clear sight lines on the taser-wielding man. The HOA guards suddenly looked confused. One of them stuttered, Who are these people?" Sarah smiled slightly and said, "Let's just say they don't like it when people threaten their family." At that moment, the man holding the taser finally understood he was not in control. He slowly lowered the device and tried to step back, but it was too late. One of Sarah's teammates stepped forward and pulled out a badge. Turns out, he was still active in military intelligence and had authority beyond what these men could imagine. Within minutes, the local police were called not by us, but by the HOA guys hoping to get out of trouble. But when the officers arrived and heard the full story, they were not happy with the HOA guards at all. The police took statements from everyone and warned the HOA team that impersonating law enforcement was a serious crime. Carrying weapons like tasers without proper licenses, threatening residents, and overstepping their authority would not be tolerated. The police also discovered that these security officers were not even properly trained. They had been hired through a private firm that didn't do background checks. 2 of them had previous complaints filed against them in other neighborhoods. The very next week, the HOA had an emergency meeting. Most of the board members didn't even know that this private cop team was behaving like this. After hearing what happened, The entire board voted to cancel the contract with the security firm. New rules were created, and a new, professional security company was brought in with proper training and boundaries. As for Sarah, she went back to walking Cooper like nothing ever happened. But now, when neighbors see her, they look at her with a little more respect, and maybe even a bit of awe. She doesn't talk about her military background, and she doesn't brag, but word spreads fast in the neighborhood. People now know that she is someone you do not mess with. And the best part? Cooper got a special neighborhood hero collar from a group of grateful residents who heard the story. He wears it proudly. It's funny how some people judge others based on how they look. They thought Sarah was just another ordinary woman. They had no idea they were facing someone who had stared danger in the eye and walked through it without fear. The moment they pulled that taser, they lost control of the situation. Because when you mess with one soldier, you mess with the whole team. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell icon so you never miss another dramatic tale like this one. We share stories where justice wins, truth matters, and ordinary people turn out to be heroes. Drop a comment below if you've ever faced a situation where someone underestimated you, or if you just want to give a salute to brave souls like Sarah. Until next time, stay safe, stay strong, and remember, sometimes the quietest person in the room is the most powerful.